like to welcome you to our regularly scheduled City Council meeting for today, Tuesday, June 6th, 2023. I would like to call this meeting to order. We're going to begin by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, and we are going to remain standing for our words of inspiration, which will be brought to us by Deacon Chris Stark from Guardian Angels Catholic Church.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deacon Stark, if you'd like to come forward to the podium, please.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Today we celebrate the 79th anniversary of D-Day. Today we are reminded again that freedom is not free. We use symbolism in the church to represent that. For us, it's the cross. We look at the cross and we know that freedom is not free. And as citizens of this great country, we look to the flag. The flag reminds us that freedom is not free. The blue of the flag represents the battlefield. The red, those lives lost for freedom. And the white, those who were wounded in battle. So we're reminded again and again that freedom is not free. And freedom for us is the rule of law versus the law of the ruler. And so what you do here matters for all of us, for all of our country and for around the world, because it's a symbol, again, of what real freedom looks like in action. People coming together to serve the common good and the dignity of the human person. I'd like to offer you a blessing. Heavenly Father, we pause from the busyness of this day, and we thank you for the gift of freedom. We thank you for the gift of your Son, Jesus, who proclaims the goodness of your love for all of us. We ask you, Lord, to remind each of us that we work best when we work in service of you and on behalf of the common good and the dignity of all human people. We ask your blessing upon the city of Clawson and all those who work and serve and minister in this community. We ask these things through Jesus our Lord. Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. Roll call, please, Mr. Gitschlag.
Mayor Milan.
Here.
Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Sampson.
Here.
Councilmember Shepard.
Here.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Here.
That's everyone, Madam Mayor.
Great. First thing we're going to do today is allow for public comment. If you're in the audience this evening and you'd like to speak for something that is on our agenda, we welcome you to come to the podium. We'll allot you 3 minutes. We'll ask that you give your name and address.
We missed the approval of the agenda.
Pardon me?
We missed the approval of the agenda.
Roll call, approval of agenda, because I already scratched it off because I'm in a hurry, because someone in this room told me to keep it moving, so I'm keeping it moving.
It wasn't me this time.
No, it's not you. And it's in my head, but it's also present. But you're right. How about we approve our agenda?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve tonight's agenda.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepard.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. We have approved our agenda, and I'll make that offer one more time if someone would like to speak to items that are on the agenda. Not seeing anyone coming forward, we'll move on from public comments on to proclamations and presentations. We have a proclamation this evening to recognize June 2023 as Pride Month. Whereas the mayor and council of the city of Clawson welcomes and values each person within our community, and whereas June 28, 2023 marks the 54th anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising in New York City, which sparked the gay rights movement and is the nationwide month to recognize the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer questioning and plus community. And whereas Pride Month raises awareness and provides support and advocacy for the LGBTQ plus community and is an opportunity to share ideas, engage in dialogue, strengthen alliances, and build understanding. And whereas we must remain vigilant in deterring oppression and discrimination against people on the basis of sex, gender identity or expression, or sexual orientation. And whereas by protecting the rights of every individual, we enhance and strengthen the value of everyone throughout our entire society. And whereas we believe in equal civil rights for all, regardless of one's beliefs, and desire for all in our community to be able to live openly, equally, and without fear. Now therefore be it resolved on the 6th day of June 2023 that the Clawson City Council encourages all of our residents to work together to bring our city motto to life, to be the little city with a big heart, to respect all people, regardless of our differences, and to do so as we are called to do, which is to love one another, and in doing so, to build a culture of inclusiveness and acceptance for all people, even if we don't all agree, during this month and every month. Then we shall move on to a Charter Commission update. I see we have 3 Charter Commission members.
That was really fast.
Do you want me to do it again? No, just kidding.
No? Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Slowinski, and I'm the Clausen Charter Commission Chair. And with me tonight is Samantha Hanser Maynard and David Bolin. On behalf of the City Charter Commission, it is my pleasure to bring you this report. For those of you who are new to our city and may not know much about this yet, in November of 2021, a majority of Clausen voters elected to review and revise the city charter, which is now 83 years old. At the same time, they elected 9 of their neighbors to represent them on the Clausen City Charter Commission. We, the Charter Commission, have one job: to look for ways to make our city charter better for all of us now and for generations to come. We've had 38 meetings since we were elected. We recently had meetings each week for 9 consecutive weeks instead of meeting just twice a month. And I want to thank my fellow commissioners for their willingness to meet so often. And I thank our attorney, John Starren, and Clausen City Clerk, August Gitschlag, for their help and guidance. You are very much appreciated. Before I talk about what we've been up to since the last time we were here, I want to talk about what should happen in November if all goes to plan. The best outcome of this process is for a strong majority of the people of Clausen to happily vote in favor of revising the city charter on November 7th, and for the revisions they approve to improve city government and the quality of life in Clausen. The last time we updated you, there were 3 things that needed to happen. First, by April, the Charter Commission must finish drafting the revised charter that it wants to propose to the people of Clausen on the November ballot. This task was completed on April 26th, and the newly updated charter recommendations were sent to the governor's office. Second, by the end of June or start of July, the governor of the state of Michigan must approve all the Charter Commission recommendations. For a full review to take place and for the governor to approve the recommendations, we must submit the full document to her by April, which we did. The governor's office has already responded back to us and to our attorney with questions, and they've asked for some clarification. From the meeting with our attorney and governor's office, our attorney suggested that we meet to discuss their recommendations, which we did. At a special meeting called on May 23rd, the second version was sent back to the governor's office with some of their recommended changes. And thirdly, by July 24th of this year, this city council, you guys, will need to approve putting the resolution to adopt proposed charter on the November ballot. And there is still time for this to happen. But from the communication we've already received from the governor's office, we are optimistic about meeting our deadline and requesting the approval in time to get it on the ballot. Once the new changes to the charter are approved by the governor's office, we plan to have open forum meetings to inform the citizens of the updates we have made, and we will come back here with a presentation. Lastly, to the people of Clausen, we've worked very hard for you. We have reviewed the charter section by section, line by line, discussed, debated, and deliberated with each other at our meetings. After hearing from you, we have heard your suggestions, complaints, ideas, concerns, and it is our great pleasure to say that what we have submitted as our newly updated charter to be approved has been something we are extremely proud to be a part of. So thank you for having us here tonight, and are there any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Samantha, and thank you, Constable David, for your time. The next item on our agenda would be consideration of approving the following consent agenda. Item A would be minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, May 16th, 2023, as presented. Item B, appointments of Trevor Zablocki as representative and Ryan McDonald as alternate to the Southeastern Oakland County Resource Recovery Authority for terms to expire June 30th, 2024. Item C would be appointments of Trevor Zablocki as representative and Ryan McDonald as alternate to the South Oakland County Water Authority for terms to expire June 30th, 2024. And a list of bills in the amount of $1,074,442.35.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have approved our consent agenda. We will move on to item 9, which is a new business. First item will be consideration of a special events request by the Clawson Chamber of Commerce to conduct the 17th annual Claws and Paws event at the Clawson City Park.
Madam Mayor, so moved.
Thank you.
Support.
Thank you. Shella, would you like to explain to us anything about Claws and Paws?
I was waiting for the approval before I can start my role.
Okay, let's vote on it. What do you say?
You don't want to give the details?
Yeah, the
She said
discussion
she's waiting for our vote.
That
So
could be
she wants.
controversial debate.
discussion part.
I have
We
I have
to-
a question, so if you would be so inclined.
There we go.
So just to make sure all dogs in the park are on leash, right?
6-foot leash, yes.
Okay, all right, that's all.
That's your only
I just want to make sure that's out on the record, that dogs in the park need to be
Yep.
on leash. Okay, so,
6 foot, not the stretchy kind.
yeah,
Yeah.
preferably leather, because you don't want to rip your hand up with the nylon ones.
That's right.
Okay.
Anything
We
else?
would not want to do that. Okay,
No? Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
yes, so what we just did was approve the Chamber's annual event, which is Claws on Paws, which takes place on Saturday, September 23rd from 10 to 2. It is a fundraiser. It supports pet rescue and adoption. And they have a couple food trucks and some vendors there, and it's a nice day, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Shella. The next item on our agenda will be a public hearing regarding solicitation of public comments on the reprogramming of the 2020 program year community development block grant funds.
So you just open it with the gavel.
Oh, yeah. I hereby open this public hearing regarding the aforementioned community development block grant funds. If you'd like to speak regarding block grant funds, please come aboard. Nick, do you want to share something about that?
I can give a brief overview.
Thank you.
On the May 18th City Council meeting, they set a public hearing for the reprogramming of the balance of the 2020 program year funds from the CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Funds. These funds were used to install ADA-compliant sidewalk ramps at the intersection of North Weebick and Selfridge. That project has been completed and now has a leftover balance of $12,646.26. We can reprogram that money to use on a similar project. The 2022 program year project is to install the ADA-compliant sidewalk ramps at North Custer and Phillips in the northwest, northeast, and southwest corners of North Washington and Phillips. As the program year 2022 project, there is $32,946 currently allocated, as well as $8,842.44 that has been reprogrammed from the 2019 project. So we're just looking to reprogram leftover money from 2020 to a similar project to help get that one completed.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to speak regarding this? Anyone in the audience? No? Then Karen, you're coming?
Question. Karen Knutson, 1313 North Bywood. Does this money have to be used in a road construction manner, or is it for the good of the community?
No.
So the reprogramming of the money, they encourage communities to use the allocated money to a similar project. And so since that project back in 2020 was for ADA sidewalk ramps, they strongly encourage communities to use that money for a same or similar project. And the project for this upcoming year is projected to be about around $50,000. So that balance is going to help complete that project.
And what's the project for this year?
It is to install ADA sidewalk compliant ramps at North Custer and Phillips, as well as the northwest, northeast, and southwest corners of North Washington and Phillips.
Yes, we need more handicapped ramps. My daughter is in a wheelchair. I would also like the council and the city to think about putting ADA equipment in the playgrounds at Clawson City Park, because they do have them for wheelchairs, they have swings, they have all kinds of equipment, and it would really be nice for the old people and people in wheelchairs, people that just aren't mobile anymore, to be able to have things to do other than sit in the grass. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I will close public hearing. Would someone like to make we don't need a motion. That's all we needed to do was have a public hearing. Yes. So we'll move on to the next item, which is consideration of a resolution to reprogram $12,646.28 from the 2020 Community Development Block Grant funds for removal of architectural barriers to the 2022 program year project. Nick?
So moved.
I can restate all that information if you guys would like.
It was what we just did, right? Well, it's very similar to what we just did,
Yeah.
but not exact. No.
Included.
Okay, any questions or concerns from anyone?
We have some repair issues that need to happen on Main Street in some locations. So I don't know what the term is for some of those ramps where they have the three-dimensional raised ramp detections, right, that they are, some have gaps, some have some missing pieces to them. So is that part of this?
Correct. I don't have the information in front of you right now, but I believe the last project that we approved was for ADA sidewalk ramps on South Main Street.
Okay.
I don't know the intersections again off the top of my head.
Okay.
Can we use the money to remove a barrier? If you do South Main Street, right over by the laundromat, there's a huge root that it's probably a 6-inch jump over the, right across the middle of the sidewalk. I don't know if you guys,
Is that over by Dario or?
a little bit north of it.
Okay.
It's right,
Yeah,
by
it's
the-
just-
right by that tree, right
Yeah.
by the bus stop.
It's just that tree that does that.
Yeah.
That tree is awful for
Have
shallow
that-
roots.
Have that repaired and lowered so people in a wheelchair can get over that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would necessarily qualify for this project. I think that would more or less just be a public works item for them
It's
to
been there a
address.
couple of years. Can we look into it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes,
Councilmember Sampson.
Yes.
thank you. So we've agreed to reprogram the 2020 Community Development Block Grant funds for the future. Next item is consideration of placing the delinquent city billings on the summer 2023 tax roll.
And Mayor, so moved.
Support.
Does anyone want to speak on this at all, or are we good?
I can
Nick?
give a brief overview.
Thank you.
So every 6 months before the taxes are sent out to residents and businesses and business owners, the city is able to place the delinquent bills on their respective tax roll. Examples of potential delinquent billings each year consist of rubbish collection, cleanup costs, vacant home inspections, and water bills. The delinquent billing rollover consists of unpaid bills to the city, which are then rolled over into their tax statement. This year, we are requesting the following to be rolled over into the summer 2023 tax roll. They are delinquent vacant home inspections of $320.71, delinquent rubbish of $242, delinquent cleanup costs of $4,355.66, delinquent false alarms of $1,320, and then delinquent water bills in the amount of $217,353 and 98 cents, I apologize. So the total delinquent bills for the summer 2023 tax roll is $223,000. sorry, 223,592 and 35 cents. Apologize. I'm bumbling over myself.
Numbers are hard. Sorry, Kelly. Any other comments, concerns? Yes,
I
sir.
just have a question for the process. When we roll these over, do we have the success rate of actually collecting those revenues?
I can't speak on exact numbers of collection, but if people don't pay their taxes and then,
Yeah.
I mean, they're required to. And so if it's on the tax roll, it makes it more, it goes into their escrow if they have a mortgage on the house. And so it's more likely that they'll pay it instead of just having an outstanding balance in the city and receiving letters. And so by rolling in the taxes, I imagine we collected at a much higher rate than not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So Nick, what you're suggesting is it's an escalation of the collection. I mean, I'm looking at, there's over 200 addresses on this list that you provided, and the amount they're delinquent is everything from a few hundred to several $1,000s, which I'm imagining represents several years, or at least many months, or at least several years of non-payment.
So our water bills make up the bulk of the delinquent bills, and so if they go 2 quarters without paying, they're going to have more if their usage is higher. So there's a couple different factors that come into play with people's water bills, and so if they're not paying it and using a lot of water, their delinquent bill is going to be much higher than someone who has lower usage. And then some of these properties are rentals, and so fluctuation, there could be vacancies on some. So there's various factors that come into place. And so that's why there's a discrepancy between multiple parcels.
Yeah, no, I understand people can be in arrears for various reasons and various amounts. I guess my concern is it looks like it's 6 months in arrears is what triggers this?
So tax bills go out every 6 months, summer, winter tax. Last winter, we did not roll into the tax roll, just due to some staff turnover and getting used to how the process works. It's not necessarily a requirement, we're able to, and so that's why it's a bit higher than in years past.
Okay, all right.
Okay, roll call, please.
We are Councilman Tinlin,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Thank you. We will move our third quarter, we will place the delinquent city billings on the summer 2023 tax rolls. And now we'll move on to consideration of the proposed 2023-2024 city department fees schedule.
Madam Mayor, I move the 2023-2024 city department fee schedule be approved as presented effective July 1st, 2023.
Support.
Thank you. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Were these from that consultant we had?
Yeah, I can give a brief overview if that's
Please.
okay with Mayor and Council. Okay. So the user fee schedule was prepared after extensive analysis from our outside contractor, Municipal Analytics. So as you alluded, Councilmember Sampson, yes. The analysis includes market studies, collection of data from departmental staff, analyzing comparable communities, and ensuring fees are appropriate within framework of the City of Clawson City Charter and ordinances. The fees include all direct, indirect, and overhead costs associated with a specific fee. The user fee schedule also aligns with the cost allocation model, the labor model, and the financial model included within the fiscal year 23-24 adopted budget. The attached user fee schedule includes current fees adopted from May 29th, 2019, and then the proposed fees to be effective July 1st, 2023. So just to show you guys the comparison of where we're at currently and to where we intend to be pending approval.
Were the fees adjusted last year? I'm trying to remember.
They have not been adjusted since that 2019 date.
Okay, all right, well, I reviewed the list, and now, if that's the case, then yeah, they're more than reasonable in light of inflation.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor Milan,
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson,
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Thank you. We have now adjusted our city department fee schedules to take effect on July 1st. We will now move on to consideration of the proposed 2023-24 consideration of the third quarter budget amendment for fiscal year 2022 and 2023.
Madam Mayor, I move the third quarter budget amendment for fiscal year 2022-2023 be approved as presented.
Support.
Nick, you're on a roll with summaries. Would you like to provide yet one more? Or Kelly wants to get up.
I actually just, Kelly Rowell, Finance Director, I just wanted to point out that the report provided is also the third quarter financial report. So,
Okay, yes. Thank you.
I imagine Kelly will be getting up in a moment, but I'll give the overview. Per the Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act, PA 2 of 1968, 141.437, Section 17.1, except as otherwise provided in Section 19, a deviation from the original General Appropriations Act shall not be made without amending the General Appropriations Act, subject to Section 16.2. The legislative body of the local unit shall amend the General Appropriations Act as soon as it becomes apparent that a deviation from the original General Appropriations Act is necessary and the amount of the deviation can be determined. An amendment shall indicate each intended alteration in the purpose of each appropriation item affected by the amendment. A synopsis of the amendment is as follows. The general fund total revenues will be increased by $290,205. This increase is due to additional permits collected in the building and planning departments, a small increase in state revenue sharing of approximately $12,000, and other small charges for services. The expenditures in the general fund are increased by a total of the same just shy of $290,000. Most departments for net change in the general fund of $162. The Blair Memorial Library Fund net change is an increase of $10,450. The Water Sewer Fund net change is an increase of $3,815. Amendments to the major street, local street, refuse collection, and DDA account for a net change of $0 respectively. All of other funds have been reviewed and do not need amendments at this time. And Kelly, as well as myself, are present for discussion.
Any questions or concerns?
I guess, Kelly, I had one question. In, I think it's probably third or fourth page in your report under the revenues for the general fund. Just comparing the year-to-date balance columns. The first one that ended 3/31 of 2022 versus 3/31 of 2023. Okay. The property taxes for 2022 is just over 6 million. For 2023, it's about 5.8. So what, can you explain how we went down a little bit in the last year?
there has been some adjustments since March of '23 that I did not backdate. So you'll see ending June of '23, it'll be a higher value. I have a report here to see where we are right now. We are at 5.87 right now. March of '22, I'm going to have to go back and look at what was included in that. I'm sorry. Make sure I got it. Looks like it should be 5.8, so I'm going to have to find out what happened with that number. It's not 6 million. It should have been 5.8 million.
For 2022?
Correct.
Okay. I was just kind of curious that when the secondary operating millage expired, before we got the other one brought on, I'm assuming there's some shortfall of income at that point? Does that feed into this too?
I just misspoke, so I thought I had the information from prior year, so I will have to get back with you on that $6 million versus this year's $5.8 million.
Okay.
So
Right.
my apologies.
That's okay.
Does this change the amendment?
No, this is just the financial report. It doesn't have anything to do with the amendment. It's a financial report through March, what's currently recorded. So I will see what the difference is from last year of March 22 to this year of March 22, but it does not affect the amendment.
Okay.
Any other questions? Well, Kelly, that was easy for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Milan?
Yes.
Councilmember Sampson?
Yes.
Councilmember Shepherd?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Or amended?
Thank you. We have just approved our third quarter budget amendment for fiscal year 22-23. And now we will move on to consideration of approving a correction to the water and sewer rate meter size and multiplier for 2023.
Go ahead. Madam Mayor, I move that the water and sewer rate meter size and multiplier be approved with the provided correction.
Support.
Okay, any question, Nick, summary time?
The city council approved the water and sewer rates that will be effective July 1st, 2023 on May 2nd, 2023. The resolution that was provided had a clerical error stating that the commercial 1-inch meters will have a 1.0 multiplier. This is not true as they have a 2.5 multiplier. The resolution has been updated to reflect the correction and prepared for your approval. Please note that this does not change the water and sewer rates that were approved on May 2nd, 2023. We're just addressing a clerical error that we had in the document.
Okay.
And just for my clarification, if you could, the pipe sizes are basically a factor, is the weight on the overall infrastructure of the system. Not just water usage, but your cost to maintain the overall system.
Correct. So like a 12-inch main is more costly than a 6-inch main. So.
Sure, okay.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sampson.
No.
Councilmember Shepherd.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Mayor Milan.
Yes. So we have
Noted.
approved the correction to the water and sewer rates, meter size, and multiplier for 2023. Now we'll move on to old unfinished business. Does anyone have any old unfinished business? We do not have old unfinished business, so we'll move on to public comments for items not on the agenda. If you're present this evening and you would like to speak for items that were not on the agenda this evening, we welcome you to come to our little podium. We ask that you state your name and your address, and we will allot you 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Mary Liz Curtin. My husband and I own 3 cats, and Leon and Lulu, cleverly located on 14 Mile Road next to the now gone Burger King, which is kind of fabulous. I would like to bring up the thought of a public sculpture, which apparently is being planned in the downtown by the city manager and the Chamber of Commerce. As a stakeholder in the downtown, as the owner of 2 properties and 2 businesses, I am totally opposed to using the COVID money for a public sculpture. I have not seen, well, though they brought a report about the sculpture and proposal to the DDA meeting, the DDA has never been officially discussed with the DDA. Nowhere was there a site plan review, nowhere was there a feasibility study to see if this thing will even fit in the downtown. But the biggest thing that I see is a real misuse of the funds. The amount for that sculpture, which is $90,000, is more than double the DDA budget. Our mandate is to beautify the downtown, to make it more successful for the businesses, which we do through our charter. This is going to not help the businesses whatsoever, and I firmly believe the money could be used far better for handicapped swings for the kids, for parking improvements. We've got trash floating around in our parking lots because we don't have dumpster enclosures. We have roads that needs to be fixed. You may have heard that from our lovely governor. Fix the damn roads! But I'd like us to have a discussion, and I believe that I think it's $1.25 million, is that right? That we have of the COVID relief money?
Roughly, we've used about 250 of that.
But I think that it would be appropriate to discuss with the people who live in the city and the stakeholders and the business owners what the best use of those funds would be. And I firmly believe, and I'd like to be the first one to go on record, and this is just as business owner, not as DDA chair, I can stomp on that later, but that I wholly do not support this idea, and I'm afraid that it's going to be as popular as that thing on M59. Thank you very much. Any questions? Oh, any questions?
What thing on M59? I know what you're talking about, though.
It's got several names that you probably don't want in the record.
I was wondering what you were going to say.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, actually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take your time.
Kathy Phillips, 226 Hendrickson. I would hope that by this point you've all seen the letter that I wrote to you. Thank you, Paula, our mayor, for responding that you did receive it. I do appreciate that. While I am not against the statue or the heart, I am against, the idea, the conceptual idea is cool. I am totally against using those ARPA funds for it. I'm totally against just bringing it in and saying this is what we're doing. And if anyone that was involved in that choice would have been paying attention to the DDA and their newsletters and their Facebook post, you'd see that there's already, we've been working on this for a year and a half at least, a heart sculpture for in the alleyway. That's going to be, the DPW should have it right now to go up there. That whole alleyway has been brought in and fixed up so people can go and, take their pictures or visit or whatever they want. They're going to be able to put locks, their own personal locks on that. That's something that brings them in. They can sit there and they can eat, they can drink, they can visit, they can walk the downtown. That heart, put it in front of City Hall if you want it that bad. But don't use ARPA funds. I'm upset that it was even considered without going out for bid. I'd like to know if Mr. Ganad, who is a wonderful person, was paid for all the time that he put in, and if so, who he was paid by. You got all my concerns in that letter, and I would be glad to talk to any one of you. I have been a volunteer or on the board of the DDA for over 15 years. And they've always been very clear about what they're doing, and this whole thing, that last DDA meeting, was just a total blindside of what's going on and who's going to be able to do things. So I would ask you to take into consideration the concerns I had listed, and feel free to call me if you have any further questions. But I just, I do pay attention still. I'm still a little bit of a thorn in your side, but
We're glad.
thank you.
We appreciate your involvement, Kathy. You're not a thorn. And all opinions welcome.
I got a question on that.
Let's let Joan go, and then we'll, if it's just the same topic, I'm assuming this will be the same topic.
It is.
Go ahead, Joan.
It is. Joan Horton, Director of the Downtown Development Authority. I think I would just like to point out that the DDA by law is charged with the revitalization of the downtown. So anybody who's lived here for at least a couple years has got to know we've been doing a decent job. But a dozen years ago, you didn't see a person walking downtown at all, unless somebody happened to be out walking their dog and they were just walking through. Right now, we have people downtown, we have businesses open, we have people walking, dining, enjoying the patios, and we have landscaping we didn't have before. So all of these steps are small and incremental, but they all lead towards our mission, because it isn't one big shiny thing or one event that makes an economic impact. If it were one big event, the car show's been going on for years. That would have put us on the map and we wouldn't have had to do anything else. But that's not how it happens. So we have plans. If we should have been part of the conversation if we had been, because people involved in that were not aware of the history, the projects that we have planned, the projects that we have had to hold in abeyance because we didn't have the money. We actually do have an art piece that we have a model of for that corner that is absolutely unique to Clawson. It is one or the other right? I don't know. But if they had talked to us, they would have found out that there was something. So leaving the people out, they're charged with the work of the downtown was, I don't even know how that happens. Again, to point out what Mary Liz said, at $90,000, that is nearly double our annual operating budget. We do a lot with the operating budget that we have. We stretch dollars, and I guarantee that our board is so financially prudent. Give us $90,000. We'll get some sort of artwork. we'll also look at concept drawings for the parking lots. Without even concept drawings or some idea of cost, we can't even go out for a grant to even try to get those fixed. It is well beyond time for that to happen. So, and there are other projects too. Lou mentioned the sidewalks. So those are two things that should have been part of the conversation for how we use revitalization money to make an economic impact. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak this evening? Okay, Councilmember Sampson, you had a question.
Yeah, I don't think the community knows it, but you haven't officially told the council what we're doing. So I know there's a slick and glossy out there that was made, and we should have had it on the, should have been part of the budget and the CIPs. It should have fit in somewhere in the budget to say, you know, it was 6 hours after we approved the budget, we found $90,000 to do this. Have we done a traffic study on this? Because we put a big shiny heart right on the corner of 14 and Main. That's at East-West Road. We're going to blind the people in the morning and blind the people in the evening. When the sun comes right down the road and hits that thing as it just might move a little bit. And that's a real concern of mine, too. And the other concern is, how do we get the approval to work behind council's back to do this? I mean, I heard there were several meetings. Why didn't we know about it?
You have a couple of questions there. I'll try and answer all of them, and if I miss one, just let me know. It hasn't been, I guess, made public outside of sharing with you in the Friday feedback, and then it was made public during the DDA meeting. That's to the extent that it's been made public. When it comes to the budget didn't touch on ARPA funds. The only expenditures we really have for the ARPA at this point is for the miscellaneous concrete that was approved a couple meetings ago. I'm sorry, what was another one of your questions?
Can I interject for a moment? Let's just start with, it was a concept, and it was championed by the chamber, and it was a concept, and no funds have been allocated, no funds have been spent, no space has been allocated. I don't know, I'm not involved in, I don't know if anyone's been paid. Like, I don't know any of that stuff. I can tell you that it's a concept for something that a group of people thought would be great for image for the city of Clawson. And I know during the DDA, when it was asked how it was going to be paid for, Mr. Raker stated maybe ARPA. I don't know if he said maybe. I know he used the word ARPA, but I can tell you that that week when he sent out the packet to the city council, Councilmember Sampson, you got the packet, and you should be able to state, as I can, that in his packet where he described this project, he had a budget, a proposed budget for this project that included 10 or 12 different functions of paying for this that did not include ARPA funds. I don't think ARPA was listed once on there. It talked about getting stakeholders to come in and pay for it, whether it's fundraisers, whether it is, I don't know, Nick, help me out, it came out of your office. But there were a bunch of different ideas, and nowhere did it say we're going to utilize ARPA. And I know he did say ARPA in that meeting, but nowhere has $90,000 been allocated for that. I don't know if this body would approve $90,000 for that.
It's not been allocated yet, but many of us are very nervous about it and wanted to bring it up as soon as possible that we are not in favor of the project. And I'm not speaking for the DDA, I'm speaking just as business owners, landowners, and somebody who wants to see the best use of the money of those ARPA funds. But Joe told us that's what he was getting.
I know, I was there. I did hear him say that, but he wasn't specific, right? And the whole thing is concept. And Shella, perhaps you could weigh in, because you are chamber, if you don't mind weighing in a little bit, because I'd like to avert some of the fears that are out there that this is a done deal. It's not a done deal. It's a concept. A group came together. They made a couple presentations. It's a really great idea. Maybe not at that corner. Maybe it does need more buy-in. Maybe a lot of things, but there's nothing hard and fast, right? Nothing has been done except for a conceptual idea brought forth and presented. And he was extremely clear that it's an idea and it would have to move in whatever way in order to get this to happen, right? Because funding is number one critical, and that's placement is critical. And I don't think the city wants to work against the DDA. The DDA is part of the city, right? We're all part of one entity. We have to work together for these things. And I don't think it should have been taken as a slight to the DDA. You guys do amazing things on a super slick budget, and you do a really great job, and I don't think anyone would discount that. And we do appreciate our business owners. We also appreciate our residents who would say, yeah, give me a slide or a merry-go-round instead of a piece of art I can stand in front. But there's got to be a way we can do all these things together. Conversation, right? Communication, clearly that's something we learned on this. Communication is key. But Shella, you're not interested in coming forward, are you? You look really comfortable.
Well, I am comfortable, but all of the people involved in this are not here. They are unable to be here tonight. And we want to present this to the council when everyone can be here. There's no rush in time. I'm here for applause and pause tonight.
Okay. Fair. So I'm sharing with you what I know, and I'm like a pacifier I like to be a pacifier for everyone. I love the idea. I think it's a great idea. Spending $90,000 of ARPA funds all at once on that, maybe not so much. And I'm the one that sat here and said, I would like to spend some of our ARPA funds on, I used the word fluff. People did not appreciate me using that. But what I meant was I want to spend some of our ARPA funds on things that we couldn't normally do, things departments couldn't normally do, like getting equipment, as Karen talked about earlier, or programming for the library or for our historical society, all of those things. Everyone has a wish list, and if you were to ask me, that's how I would like some of the ARPA funds spent, to give someone just like that one little thing they can do that's special. And a $90,000 heart doesn't sound like that's what most people want to do that would be special. But it was just an idea. It's not a done deal. You can all rest assured, it's not a done deal. Am I wrong, Nick?
It's a beautiful concept, and it's just that right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So Nick, if it's in the concept phase, I think one of our residents asked a fair question, which is, has any money been spent developing the concept?
As far as I know, no. So,
I will tell you that no money has been spent. Council has not approved any money to be spent. And as far as I know, there has been no invoices incurred for the project, the concept project.
And then to that extent, if there was, it would have shown on the list of bills, so. No.
Did the designer pay for all the second glossies?
Can you speak up? Because
I'm sorry, what was that?
Did the designer pay for all the literature?
I believe he's been doing that free of charge for now. And by believe he is, he's supplying all of that stuff for us at this point.
Any other questions or concerns about this topic? Any other public comment for this evening? Okay, thank you, everyone. Oh, yeah, Karen, I'm sorry. You're welcome.
Okay, I don't want to.
No, I just didn't see you getting up.
I lived in Royal Oak most of my life, and I've been in Clawson for 23 years now. And there's a huge difference between like Royal Oak and all the things they've done in the area they have for the people that the city serves. This city is small. We don't need any big sculptures. We need things for the people of this city, or none of you are going to have a job when you're up for re-election. We need to take care of the citizens and the businesses, and not some wild sculpture. We can't think like that. We have to be fast with the money, with where it delegate it to help everybody. This doesn't help anybody right now, not at the stage where the city's growth is, right? They're saying, well, we're going to put one in the alley by, I assume, Weiss, by the distillery. That's a good place for it. That's a good place to do something. We don't need a $90,000 sculpture in the city of Clawson at this point. 10 years from now, maybe.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, then we'll move on from public comments on to our city clerk's report. Mr. Gitschlag.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few things. I'm trying not to take too long. First off, an update on the boards and commissions. Each one of you will be getting the updated document, the policy, tomorrow morning. We settled on the language today, and it's good. It's efficient, it's clean, it works really well. Everyone seemed to be happy with it, so we're going to give that to you all tomorrow to be on the next agenda, so you can get a look at it now. Also, I provided you, Madam Mayor, with a little summary document of what I had on hand for applications and versus the vacancies that you've already seen are all kind of summarized in that little document that I sent you this afternoon. So that's for you to as a working document for you to work on appointments for next meeting.
Okay.
Any updates that come to that, and people are still bringing in applications, I'll send them to you immediately.
I'd like the applications, not just their names too, please.
Okay, you should have had all of those at some
point,
point, but I can try to gather all of
Send them
them
to me
again.
again, because I know I don't have all of them.
Okay.
Because we know all of them never came to me, so if I can get
Yeah.
all of them, then there's no questions,
Okay.
right? Then we'll both be on the same page, that's all I'm
That's
asking.
fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
Yes, I had a meeting with Oakland County last week, and this is going to affect, with the last election in the Prop 22-2, where the 9 days of early voting, Oakland County offered to communities to partner up for the 9 days of early voting, where you actually run a ballot to the tabulator. And they partnered us up with Madison Heights and Royal Oak. So the most efficient location is going to be the Royal Oak Community Center at 14 and Crooks, where our residents will be able to go and vote anytime for 9 days ahead of the election. This is for November, not for October, or not for August. It's a pilot program with the city in November. We don't have to do it for local elections, but we're going to try. We're going to give it its first run and see how it works. We'll share resources, share the training, share the cost, share the staff. So it's in its early stages. We're going to get more information from them, but we had our first meeting about the location and what our district is going to be was last week. So just want to give you an update on that.
What was the location?
The Royal Oak Community Center at 14 and Crooks. 13. It's a brand new building. It's a brand new building. Had the most parking of all of our spots, so we opted for that one.
It's south of Tenave on Murray, or well,
That's the word.
so
Yeah.
Mariah's here, Murray there. So,
Right, yeah. So, but again, this is not for August. This is for November. But I just wanted to put it out there that contract for that will probably come to you sometime in September. It'll be cycle to cycle. So if we're not happy with it, we're not stuck with it. We can bail out and do our own thing. But so that's on the way.
And that's in-person voting?
As in-person voting, we can put your ballot in the tabulator starting it'll be 9 days before the Monday. So it'll go from Saturday to the next Sunday.
What will the hours
Friday.
be there?
Well, that's up in the air. We have to be open 8 hours a day, and we've agreed that probably one of those days will be later hours, like a noon to 8, or something that will accommodate afternoons.
And you said we share staffing, so we'll take, one of you will be over there.
Yes. And each night, a different clerk will be responsible for being there on staff as well, to oversee it all.
Interesting.
So would you be dropping off an absentee ballot, or actually?
You can drop off an absentee ballot. You can take your absentee ballot and run it right through the tabulator if you wanted to. Or go there, and they're planning on a ballot by demand, where it prints for you right there, depending on what city you are.
With a photo ID, of course.
Yeah, all that stuff still applies. The big change is there's going to be no more ballot stubs. You won't be able to get your 4-digit number off of your ballot stub anymore. Those are going away.
Oh darn, we were saving those for
People were saving them,
something.
yes,
Yeah,
I know.
Of course.
And lastly, just as an update, and this will go on the Facebook page as well, the clerk's office will operate with very limited hours next week, the 12th to the 15th, due to the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks annual convention. Jennifer didn't get to go last year. She didn't get any of her points because she was in the treasurer's office. So in order to stay certified, she has to go to all the trainings. So she's in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm only going Wednesday and Thursday. So I'll be here. My obligations are in the evening and late afternoon. So we'll be open from 7:30 to 2 on Monday, 9 to 2 on Tuesday. Wednesday will be closed, and Thursday will be open. And then a reminder that Monday the 19th, all of City Hall is closed to recognize Juneteenth. So they've moved the convention up by 2 weeks, which is good, because in the past it would have been right in the middle of absentee ballot season, and we would have been busy as heck. But we can actually get by with it this time. So, but Michelle will be back on Thursday to open it. So that was a compromise between Mr. Raker and I. I was going to be down there the whole time, but he said he did not like the idea of the office being closed. And after we argued for a couple hours, I said, fine, I'll skip the mornings. So
Yeah, we kind of like our offices to be open because we are a public service
we are.
entity. Yes.
There's not a whole lot coming from us this week. It's all when those absentee ballots drop. Then it's busy, busy, busy.
Unless you're one of the residents who just happens to need something on the day that you guys are off gallivanting at a
Yes, gallivanting.
conference,
That's what
right?
we're doing. Gallivanting. We do gallivant a lot in the evening, but not during the day.
I'm sure. Anything else?
I think that's already too much. So
if I may, just to go back to the applications, how many do we have now? Do you have an inventory of that? And how was the purging process for the 3 years for having applications on hand?
What are we talking about, for absentee ballot applications?
No, this is going back to the applications for appointments for,
those.
went way back.
Oh, way back. I mean, I don't throw anything away until they're appointed. They're scanned and then appointed. So I go back about, I emailed people that applied a year and a half, 18 months ago to see if they were still interested for some things. And one person said yes, one person didn't respond, and there's a couple that didn't respond. So it reflects that in the little document. So, but I do want, I have been pushing the staff to actively recruit from their volunteers and people that come and show up, invite them to be on the boards if you think they're going to be a good fit. So especially Parks and Rec, if you think someone's interested, all of you could help us with that too, because we need to get that board going. It has not met in years.
Is there a way to post all the openings?
Sure. And I've done one Facebook post with specific boards that needed people.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it
get the
again.
message that
I have
way.
no problem doing it again.
New people, they haven't been around, it's like I can get involved if I do this. So yeah, if we could post all the openings when
And
we're
I'll
done.
put it on all the different, not just our site, but I can put it on some of the other ones too. Because that's the bigger bang for your buck than the C&G newspaper, really.
Yeah.
You get more eyes on it, social, online, so it's cheaper. So, but that's where we're at.
Okay, thank you. Our city attorney's report, Kara.
I do have one thing to report. We did receive a tax tribunal case recently regarding the SEV of a commercial property, so we are working towards a resolution on that.
That's it, thank you. Any questions for Kara? No? Thanks, Kara. Thanks for having something for us today. Next up is our city manager's report, Nick.
I got a couple things for you guys. The Department of Public Works is hosting an open house this Saturday, June 10th, from 9 a.m. to noon. Please feel free to stop by and meet the staff while checking out the entire fleet. The DPW has also invited Soccer to be there to collect all of your odd recyclable items, from TVs to microwaves to old paint. There will also be a paper shredder on site if you want to drop off any paper. The DPW is located at 635 West Elmwood, across the street from the city park, if you're not sure where our DPW is. The Clawson Citywide Garage Sale, this is this upcoming weekend from June 9th through the 11th. There is a list of participating addresses that is available at all city buildings and our website, as well as the Parks and Recreation Facebook page. The construction project of Selfridge and Phillips has been completed. They're still working on restoration on some of the grass areas, but with the lack of rain the last couple weeks, that's made it a little bit more difficult, but the concrete, everything else is good, drivable. So we're glad to see that project done. Mr. Gitschlag alluded that we are closed on June 19th to observe the Juneteenth holiday. And also on that day, the Friends of the Blair Memorial Library will be having their concert at the park, which is next to the library at the gazebo on the 19th from 7 p.m. to 8:15. And then the final thing, just to update your calendars, is that the first city council meeting in July is not on Tuesday because everyone's going to be getting ready for the fireworks. So that meeting is on July 5th, which is that Wednesday. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them.
We should just have our meeting at the same time as the fireworks, because we've been known to have a few fireworks in this room ourselves, just for fun, right? Nick, I have a question about the Selfridge Phillips area. Are they going to come through and sweep? Because I have people like, when are they going to sweep? Because there's just lots of mess.
Yes, I believe they're still letting the concrete settle, and I know they've got to I think there's a couple pieces of equipment left in the island there, or just some leftover debris. So
Okay.
they're still cleaning up, but, for the project
Okay,
itself is done.
good to know. I'll convey that message. Any questions for our city manager acting?
Yeah, as far as Chippewa Street, is that, who's responsible for the south side? There's a portion that is Royal Oak's responsibility, right? So at what point, have they done anything on their side, or are we in coordination with doing repairs on our side? How is that working out?
So I believe almost all of Chippewa is Clawson. I think the houses is kind of where the line, the border is between both of the cities. So we would be responsible for
I think it's 3 houses west, it's either 3 or 2 houses west of Washington are actually Royal Oak, and the rest on the south side
Yeah,
towards.
it's like a block and a half's
Yeah.
worth of houses
Okay.
on the
So-
south side.
I'll have to get an area from you exactly, because I can't picture the road off the top of my head. I apologize.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that if we're shutting something down and they decide to do that, you know, we're communicating, coordinating, because we're going to have to do the same thing with Rochester Road at some point in time, right?
Yeah, and in those areas where we border another city, I mean, Royal Oak or Troy, we're always communicating with them if there's an issue. I mean, over on South Crooks, when that Royal Oak was doing that project, we were more than aware, and so, yes.
Yeah, I mean, those main streets are a little bit more obvious. Chippewa is tricky, the fact that, okay, where's the delineation, so, okay.
Okay, then council comments. Councilmember Sampson?
None.
No? Mayor Pro Tem Anderson?
Just Nick, for the DPW open house, could you repeat the day and time?
It is this Saturday, June 10th, from 9 a.m. to noon.
Anything else?
Oh, that's it.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Just one tonight. My favorite document, the performance tool, PP 2001, that's been for revision, has been completed at the city manager's office now. So I think we'll be ready probably for the next agenda for council discussion again and decisions on those edits we did a few months back. And then with that said, we also are coming up to when we have to have these performance done and also setting the goals for 2023 and 24 by the end of the month.
Great,
And that's it.
thank you. Councilmember Shepherd?
I just want to echo the words earlier from Deacon Stark about how important this day is from 1944, that we never forget this, and that we share as much as we know about it to the next generation so that they also don't forget about it. We're losing their last remaining veterans from that awful conflict, that they are fully remembered from this time forward. So, thank you.
On Memorial Day, we held, if you were there, it was a really nice event. So many thanks for that, for city administration for planning the event, I want to remember Ralph Haney and Rockin' Ronnie for providing sound and music during the event. Our DPW did an exceptional job. They set up chairs, and there were more than enough for everyone, and it was comfortable, and it wasn't too hot, and it was just great. Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts did their job as usual. Our fire department was there, our police department was there. We had representation from our library, our historical society. I don't know, I probably left someone out, but, and many, many residents, and young and old alike, and those precious veterans who were there to remember their precious loved ones who are no longer here. So that's one of my favorite events in Clawson. It's just people coming together for people, which is like the best thing we can do. So I'd also like to remind you, library summer reading program is starting up. I think you can go to the library and get the information for that. And congratulations to all of those who are graduating from Clawson High School. They had commencement yesterday. It was a very nice event, hosted at Grace Apostolic Church. It was filled to the rim, right? Standing room only. Everyone behaved. It was really beautiful. And I just want to say congratulations to those seniors. Go out, make a great life, have fun the next couple of weeks, because we know all you're going to want to do is party. But please, please be careful, because you're precious. And that's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Roll call, please.
I'm not making it tonight.
Shepherd?
Yes.
Sinlin?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Milan?
Yes.
Sampson?
Yes.
We're adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
35. That is impressive considering how big that agenda was.
We have 7 items on the new.
There's a hearing.
Yeah.
Memorial Day. City manager.
Yeah, that text check.
Yeah.
It's not my desk. And they always go to Steve Hitchcock.